Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Saturday Bitcoin morning update. So welcome to the weekend, guys. I'm Dan from Trading with Dan. So we shall go straight over to our 4-hour Bitcoin charts. So yeah, as we can see, the inevitable happened after the market being able to turn around this pullback here and get right back up to this resistance zone to consolidate of the third time of testing it. We had no real option other than to trade above it and trade upwards. So the Bears had their chance to push us down further, and they clearly weren't strong enough. So they obviously had to give it up in the short term, and yeah, we pumped up. So all we are doing though is we are trying to establish our next wider trade sideways trading range. So much the same when we had this range down here, about a 30 to 42,000, let's call it a $12,000 range. I mean, if we can get up to around this $51,000 range, it kind of leaves us a $10,000 trading range, but obviously that's $10,000 of a higher valued asset. Obviously Bitcoin being in the 30,000s rather than being in the 40,000, so obviously it is not only nominally but percentually a smaller range. So I mean, realistically, it would be nice, it would be extremely nice to see us to get into the 50,000s. So maybe 52,000, maybe this horizontal here, or even the actual real target where these video titles turn bullish around this 58,000. So I mean, I think what we are going to have to basically decide is, do we get stopped around this $51,000 mark, or do we get above? If we get above, then I feel we will enter a very nice, juicy $14,000 sideways trading range, which is probably proportionally similar to a $12,000 trading range down here. But yeah, that would be the best case scenario. Trade sideways in there for a bit, gather a head of steam, and then go on a nice parabola to over $100,000. So yeah, that is what we're looking at. Weekend price action. I mean, we did have had pumps up over the weekend a couple of times now. Maybe the open interest is going up, so obviously more real money is coming into the market. I mean, you can often you could maybe assume that a lot of real money that comes in is retail money, because I mean, institutions maybe play with CME, but yeah, and maybe that just happens on the weekend because that's when they're not working. Obviously the people that are working are obviously the people potentially with more money, so maybe is that why we pump over the weekend? Maybe they fire up their Coinbase and start market buying that Bitcoin each weekend. So good price action, looking good. If we have a look at Ethereum, still very well within this pennant. Extremely tight here. Obviously we're above this. We are above this support area. I mean, my main takeaway from this price action is that Bitcoin is making nice moves to the upside. It has been trending very nicely upside, looking for potential price discoveries for the new trading range, and Ethereum has managed to hold its own against it. So that is clearly bullish, because when Bitcoin is trading sideways and ranging, that's when you expect this to do well, and when Bitcoin's on the move, you expect this to do bad, i.e. go down. But it isn't going down whilst Bitcoin is trending, so it is keeping pace, which is very bullish, because then when Bitcoin does trade sideways in range, Ethereum can then potentially go on play out the bull flag basically. So yeah, that is looking good. Bitcoin dominance itself, obviously with the aid of Ethereum, is looking particularly juicy for a move down if we can take out this horizontal. I know some other YouTube analysts are looking at this and thinking that this is just going to be a lower high and we're going to continue upwards, but I mean, it doesn't look like that to me. So I am obviously an altcoin optimist, so maybe I've got to understand my slight bias, but I think we got a good shot at taking out this, and then it is curtains for the dominance. So yeah, this also is another good thing to see. Getting rejected. We don't really like double tops, and this could start to look a little bit like an inverted head and shoulders, but obviously we can invalidate that by getting below this support area. I expect a little bounce off this into the open next week when traditional markets open. But yeah, I mean, like similarly in Bitcoin, the bears had their chance, the bulls had their chance to push us onwards and upwards here, and they got swiftly rejected. So it is now the bears' chance to push us lower, see if they can take out some levels below and get us moving downwards. Stock markets, obviously, crack up boom, ascending wedge broke to the upside. That is fair enough. I do kind of like how that has broken to the upside though, just purely because it means it hasn't broken to the downside. We've now invalidated this formation. We can now find a new formation, and yeah, we haven't had to test down. So I mean, it's just correlated. It is just good. Everything is risk. Everything is risk on. We want all risk ons to do well. So yeah, let's see what Peter Schiff is there. Peter Schiff's doing, not having a great time there. So yeah, the less said about that, the better. Yeah, nothing else really to look at here now. Oh yeah, the USD pairing for Ethereum. I always forget this. I mean, Ethereum is my favorite asset, and I barely look at the dollar chart. I just look at the Bitcoin chart and obviously the ETH Bitcoin chart, but clearly this is a derivative of those two. So I guess if you're watching those two, you know what's going on in this. But yeah, just actual levels. You can see we are taking out these horizontals. So I mean, yeah, next real target's this $34,000 level, not far away. And then yeah, will we see a bit of a pullback there, a bit of a consolidation? We have got, obviously you can see here, quite a nice bit of price action going on here. So maybe we'll have a bit of a trouble getting through, but once we get above and closed, I mean, just for the sake of just a bit of leeway, call it 3,500, then yeah, I mean, just onwards and upwards. The world will be our lobster. So yeah, let's have a look at those stochastics. We do know we were having a lot of pressure. Short and medium stochastics are clearly, after this move, are clearly extended here, but this move has turned around the higher time frame one. So that's markets. That's why we have a meandering price action. Larger time frames obviously rule, but shorter time frames rule in the short time frame and medium in the medium. So yeah, we are well, hopefully going into a nice macro uptrend now, but we are clearly not gonna go up in a straight line. So let's have a look at those stochastics. 4 hour, yeah, 4 hour good, gone all the way up there. So potentially we'll put a bit of a short-term downward pressure, but it's down to these 10, 12 hour and daily realistically to see how they are looking, but I do suspect they are extended. Oh, well, there we go. 10 hour isn't. It has got a nice bit of room to run here. So yeah, maybe 50,000 this weekend. 12 hour, I mean, yeah, it's up there. I mean, it's up there. It's pointed up, so, and it can get higher. So yeah, that's not looking too bad. Daily has turned up from a very aggressive read, but as we can see, it can hold up here whilst look, we could get something like this, and then 2 day again similar, and then the big boys. Well, three days got all the way up there. 5 day, I mean, these are the big boys. 5 day looking fantastic here. Weekly just looking so good, so much room to run. If this starts obviously moving upwards, I mean, just fantastic. And then obviously if this moves upwards, then yeah, I mean, yeah, jackpot. So yeah, all looking good here for, well, like I'm saying, let's keep ourselves grounded in reality. We are looking for, we are painting out the next sideways range. We will reach a high somewhere, we will have a decent pullback, and then we will potentially trade sideways for a bit within that wider range. That is what we are looking at. So yeah, so yeah, good weekend. I'm off to Manchester today. You can probably tell I'm in a good mood. It is the weekend. I had such a nice early night yesterday as well, so I'm feeling well, more refreshed than usual. I could have actually slept in longer, but hey, I have to be up. So yeah, there we go, guys. Hope you guys all have a great weekend. I am Dan from Trading with Dan. Thank you for listening, and I shall speak to you guys soon.